Okay, part 3 of Into the Lion's Den. If you haven't already, please go back and watch parts 1 and 2. Otherwise, this video won't make a lot of sense. My name is Steve Bruno. This is the Intervention channel. And we are going to meet with Mary now. I'm going to go meet with Mary. So I leave the house and I go and meet with Mary, the ex-girlfriend of David. And we sat and I said, look, my only goal here is to get David into the program. He is, by all reports, in a drug-induced psychosis, isolated in his house. No one has seen him for 2 months, and everybody's very worried about him. He occasionally calls his mom or his dad, not even to ask for money. He has his own money. And Mary was nodding her head. She says, yeah, I'm worried about him too, but it was just, what can I do? I said, well, he loves you. He's in love with you, as many faults and shortcomings as he may currently have. Nonetheless, his heart belongs to you. So what I would like to do is go down and talk to him, or for you actually to introduce me. He won't be expecting it. We'll go down there, and would you be willing to suggest that if there is going to be any hope for their future, he really needs to get it together, and while you don't, want to force him into anything, you wanted him just to hear what I have to say. And she said, sure, I can do that. And she got it. She understood. I wasn't trying to get them back together. I was just trying to save this guy's life. So anyway, so we went over to David's, and she knocked on the door. It was sort of quiet for a minute. We heard some rustling inside, and then, who is it? And in her soft voice, Mary said, David, it's me. Silence. Mary? Yes. What are you doing here? I wanted to talk to you for a minute. Long silence. Okay, give me a minute. Give me a couple minutes. We probably waited for 20 minutes out there, patiently, and I helped Mary stay patient. Having been a meth addict myself, I knew how long it takes to do just about anything when you're spun. So, meaning high. So eventually, the door opened. And this ghost, this Halloween decoration of a man, was standing there. He looked like he had been made up for, as a zombie. The dark rings under his eyes, his cheeks all sucked in, his skin was gray. He looked terrible. He was splattered with paint, because he was remodeling. Ugh. I mean, his house was just, you looked in and it looked like a haunted construction area. Or a haunted demolition area, I should say. Things torn apart, and screws and tools all over the place, and all over the floor, and paint, and here and there, and everything. Anyway, and this sort of stale air landed on both of us from the doorway. And he was standing there, and you could see, man, in spite of his condition, he only had eyes for Mary. And he was in a sort of shocked state, and he said, oh, excuse the paint, I'm remodeling. Okay, fair enough. Sure, the place certainly, I'm sure, looks different than it used to. No, but anyway. So Mary said to him, exactly as we had rehearsed, she said, David, I love you, and I will always love you, but if there's any hope, I really need you to straighten up and get your act together first. And I don't know how that's going to happen, but I have, there's this guy, Steve. He looked at me. Oh, hello. And he did a program that really worked well for him. And I'm not here to try to make you go, but I would like you to at least listen to Steve and then tell me what you think. And this is important. Listen to what he says and then tell me what you think. This keeps him in control. We're not saying, I want you to listen to him and then do what he says, or you need to listen to him and really take in what he says, kind of ordering the, you don't want to do that. You want to try to phrase things so that the person has some sense of control. Listen to what he says. You don't have to say anything, and then tell me what you think about it. I said, yeah, okay. So I tend to be apologetic with an addict when I first meet him. In this sense, say, David, man, I'm sorry to be like a third wheel here. I know, you and Mary probably have a lot to talk about. I'll keep it brief. I had this is important later, but I had a white Sebring convertible with my little dog in it parked out in front. I said, I just drove up here. So it was kind of like, coming in on a white horse, I like to think. But he got a good impression of me. Obviously, I wasn't a cop. Bring my little dog. And I said, we can just talk right here. And I told him about my experience with meth, with depression, with loss of a relationship, with being in love. So I customized my story to match his current situation. And this is something that I have continued to practice. It was an intuitive thing on my part at that point, but now it's a solid part of my strategy. And I told him about my experience with meth, depression, and with the treatment program. And there were no 12-step meetings. I'm not a 12-stepper, although I do certainly love the 12 steps. I go to 12-step meetings, but I did not recover in a 12-step meeting, so I know a 12-step program. So I told him, I said, there's no AA, because he had already been to AA and didn't want to go back. There's no AA, there's no group therapy. And this is just what he needed to hear. I know there's a lot of people out there watching that do the 12 steps. I go to 12-step meetings, even though I didn't recover in a 12-step group. So I'm certainly a friend to Dr. Bob and Bill W., as they are for me. But for David, at that moment, I needed to say what I needed to say to get him into the program. So that was part of it. And how things turned out after I told him all of this will be in part 4 of Into the Lion's Den. Contact me directly at stevebruno.com. Ask your questions in the comment section below so that everybody can see the answers. You can also buy my book called More Than Hope. This story is in the book called Into the Lion's Den. There are other stories in there. Sherry, Lisa, Aaron, Jared. There are stories of first-person narratives of interventions I've actually done in a section called My Exploding Workshop, And so click subscribe, click the next video, which is part 4 of Into the Lion's Den, and you'll be seeing me there. And my name is Steve Bruno. Thank you for watching the Intervention channel.